Hello all and welcome. I've got a bit of seed sowing to get on with. It's that time of year for me to get and start my brassicas. So let's crack on and get that job done. I've got some broad beans to do. In fact, I'll show you what I'm going through actually with these. I've got some spring onion, some white Lisbon. I'm going to do those. In fact, what I'm going to do with those is I'm going to grow them in one of these. This is the typical sort of tray that you get mushrooms in from the supermarket, and can't see it very well, but I've got a fork, warmed it up on the gas and just wazzed holes in, and I thought, save throwing it in. I know we recycle, and yes, we've got bins for plastics and so on, but I thought rather than throw them away, I'm going to start and use them, do that sort of thing with them. And as for brassicas, I've got 3 lots here. Let me get them all. 3 lots of sprouts. I've got Crispus, Atwood and Maximus. They're actually part of a... It was cheaper, as you can see. I've had these from DT Brown's, and it was cheaper to buy these in a set as such than to buy the 3 separate packets. The idea being that it will help to extend me crop. It says here with the Atwood, great extending of Brussels sprouts season into the new year, produces high yields and mild medium-sized buttons. So that was the idea of going with those. The Maximus, it says excellent crop of sweet tasting buttons over a long period, resistant to ring spot, white blister and powdery mildew. Well, I've got to be honest, I've never heard of ring spot or white blister. So, but I thought, why not? And then the Crispus, I've never done any of these 3 before actually. But the Crispus are bred as a clubroot resistant variety. It says I've an excellent standing ability and good vigour, produce a good crop of small dark green tasty buttons. So, and it says with regards indoor sowing, says February. So today is the 20th of February. I've done all the labels for them. Again, with regards to DT Brown's, and no, I've got no axe to grind either way, but these labels were sent with these seeds, and using my little label printer, I've just printed them off and stuck them on. So that's those, and the spring onions. The spring onions, by the way, will go in this, so as it allows them. They'll go. I'll do them in clumps, and it'll allow them to form some good roots before I need to disturb them. So what else have I got? Well, I've got something else here now. I will show you how well they're doing. I have always struggled to grow onions from seed. Now when I say onions, I'm talking of things like Bedfordshire Champion, Ailsa Craig, Styron, all those type of onions. I have always struggled to grow from seed. This year, I'm sure, I may be wrong, but I'm sure that these are from Mr. Fothergill's and they're called Onion Exhibition. And I think I had these sent me. They were sent along with some other seeds. And I'll show you later how they're doing. But I put these into a root trainer that I've got. I've had real good germination, and there's two people I've got to thank for this. One is Nigel, Muddy Boots, and the other is Andy. I'll put links below to their YouTube channels. Both of those chaps gave me some really useful information with regards to growing onions, and when you see how they've gone or how they're going, you'll see that it was obviously very good advice. So thank you, gentlemen. But what I'm going to do with these, I'm going off the track a bit because I've got quite a few left. A couple of nights ago I was watching a video by Charles Dowding, and he was sowing spring onions. In fact, I think it was white Lisbon he was sowing, and he was putting them into those, you know, like the 40 cell plastic seed trays, the 40 cell type things, and he was dropping, you know, 6-7 seeds into each cell and growing them that way. And that was with his spring onions. But he also did the same with, I think it was Styron, I think he was growing, and he did it with those. And he showed you then later on how they're going, and they were growing in bunches. And when they were about spring onion size, he was then pulling 2, 3, 4 out, leaving the rest still in a bunch, but leaving them to grow on. And yes, they weren't making massive onions, but they were making a nice size onion. And to be honest, you know, I think if you have me, I do like to do the big. I do like it when I grow onions and they do grow big. Yes, they look nice, but if you're not careful, you can end up wasting some of it. So when they're a reasonable size, you know, slicing on a salad, in a sandwich or whatever, you've not got too much that you're either going to waste or, you know. So I'm going to do the same with what's left of these exhibition seed. I'm going to put them into a little cell tray. I've probably only got enough to do about, I might be able to, I've got some trays that have got about 6 cells, so I've probably got enough in here just to bunch them in there. And I'm going to see how they go on. I'm going to treat them like spring onions and put them out just the same and leave them, let them bulb up, and that's, you know, as long as they go okay. So that's onions. Cauliflower. Clapton F1. Club root resistant. I've grown these before. In fact, I did these last year. In fact, I think I've done them for the last 2 years. Always very pleased with these. Can't really say any more than that. They're a good, as I say, they're club root resistant, so that'll do for me. I'm then also doing some all year round. These are some that I'd already started. They're not out of date. They've got sow by year end 2024, and I mean these were bought last year, So that's quite good. So I'm going to do some of those. And then something else that I'm going to do, which has turned out to be a bit of a disaster, and that's broad beans. But this is new to me, these Imperial Long Pod. Says there about the produce pods up to 15 inches long. Heavy cropping, which I would imagine is the case with them doing pods, producing pods of 15 inches. That's going to be, this possibility are going to be about 10 or 12 beans in one pod. I'd planned to do these round about this time of year anyway, and the plan was to follow on from my Claudia Aqua Dulce, which I put out towards the back end of last year. Now, there's a little story with those. Because of the weather we've had, or we did have, with regards the snow, the frost, the rain, and so on, we ended up with about 3 or 4 inches of snow, and then we ended up with some good frosts. And when I put the Claudia, the Aqua Dulce, when I put them out, they were about so big, decent size. In fact, I think they were a little bit too leggy. I think I need to, I need to learn from that, and I think I let them get a bit too leggy before I put them out. But cut a long story short, the bad weather has killed them off. There is not a single one that remains. They've all gone. So they're going to be replaced with these Imperial Green Long Pod. I'm going to do those in root trainers. But what I'm going to do with all this that I'm sowing, I'm not going to stand here and show you, like do the broad beans and then, right, that's me Crispus sprouts there, me apple. I'm not going to do that. What I'll do is I'll get everything together, get and sow them, and then I'll bring you back when I've finished sowing. I have got one other thing to show you as well that I'm going to sow, but I'm going to sow them tomorrow, and that's sweet peas. Now these are from Andy. They're a variety called Hilda's Mix, named after his mother. There's a few, you can see a few floating. Well, I shall skim them off when I come to sow them, but I say I'm not going to sow them till tomorrow, but I've just put them in this bit of water to allow them to expand. There must be about 70 or 80 seeds in there, and there's probably 9-10 that are floating, so that isn't too bad. But I'm going to leave them, let them soak, and we'll sow them tomorrow. Maybe in a root trainer. I think I might use a root trainer for those as well. I have got some already growing. Remember me saying about my little furry friend, the mouse that come calling, and well, just down here I'll show you these. Yes, they are a bit leggy, but I don't mind. These are what's left from where he's had some of these, and I mean, even that one there, see that he'd bitten through that. Don't know why he'd bitten up there, but it's just starting to bud. Now, a thing I'm thinking of doing, and I don't know whether it'll be right, but I'm wondering now whether to, I have cut the tops off these, but because of how leggy these have gone, I'm thinking about possibly cutting them way down there. Not all of them. I'll leave some of them to stay long and spindly, but I'm just thinking about whether to cut some down the bottom, and just to see then, that'll obviously increase the growth down the bottom here. So I might do that with one or two of these. But yeah, you can see that there's been eaten through, and but yeah, it's it's time for me to sow some more. These were sown 21st of January. Well, it's the 20th of February today, so that's sort of a month apart. I'm going to do some more round about the 20th of March so that we've got some continuation. But yes, I'll put them there. So I'm going to leave it at that for now, and I'll bring you back when I've got these all sewn up. I'll show you what I've got here, what I've sown, and I'll also show you those onions as well. So I'll bring you back in a minute. Now, I know I said I was going to bring you back when I've finished all my seed sowing, but I'm doing the broad beans. I've done everything else and I'm just doing the broad beans, and I just thought I'd show you with regards broad beans, the seed, big flat seed like that. Now when I sow these, I hold them like so between thumb and finger, and when I sow them into the compost, they then go in like that. Push them down. I've also sown them holding them like that. See that, I don't know what that's called. I'm not going to pretend to know, but that is when they're in the pod. That's the part that is attached to the pod. I also sometimes get them and push them in with that facing up or facing down, but 9 times out of 10 it's always held like that and pushed in. They've gone down a good inch, easy. Basically the size of the bean, that size, that way. Although I'm planting them that way, I push them in to just over the size of the bean itself, the seed, and just go through pushing these in like this. They'll then be covered with compost. This compost has already been watered, so no problems with regards watering, and we just push them straight in. When I put my broad beans, I never put the seed flat like that. You put it that way, there is a chance of it rotting because of it lying flat. It could rot before it starts to sprout, but I always, that way round, push them in, or as I say, that end, holding the end and pushing them in that way. I always seem to get decent germination with them doing them this way. I've learnt the hard way. I've put them in flat before now and nothing's happened, and I think I read it somewhere about the risk of them rotting. But there we go, they're all in. So now we've done them, I'll get and cover them up and I'll bring you back when I've finished. Okay, everything's sown. I've done everything. I will take you off the tripod and I'll show you, well, before I do that, let me just show you something. Remember me saying about, I just said about the onions and receiving some helpful advice? Well, these are those exhibition. These were sown January 21st. I'm really pleased with them. I have cut some of the tops on some of these, but that for me is fantastic. I've never had anything like that in the way of germination before. Whether it's using this and it's a bit of advice, don't know. Either way, I'm very pleased, really am. These are doing nicely. They're under the grow lights at the moment in the house, and that's where they're going to stay. I've just brought them out here so I can show you, while I show you what I've sown today as well. But yeah, them really chuffed. These Agrilan root trainers, by the way, fantastic little bit of kit. Really do like them. I can see that for doing these onions, because what happens is when you pop these out of here, you're left with a plug plant with, as you can see, quite a deep root, and that will pot on, should be just spot on for potting on. That rhymes. I'm a poet and didn't know it. Yeah, I know. Right, I'll show you now what I've sown. Okay, so going on from those onions that I was talking about over there, they are what's left of those exhibition onion seeds. As you can see, there's not a lot because I've only been able to put about half a dozen seeds in each of those cells there, so we'll see how they go. Moving along, I've got all year round cauliflower. I've popped a couple of seeds in each cell. Then I've got the sprouts, I've got Crispus, Maximus and Atwood, and again just dropped a couple of seeds in each cell with those. Moving forward, these here, these are all year round, no sorry, these are Clapton cauliflower, and what I've done with these is I've gone one seed there, one seed there, one seed, one seed, so there's 2 seeds gone per cell, but separately with those, because with these being slightly bigger, I think there's a better chance of being able to split them if needs be. In here is my white Lisbon spring onions. All as I've done is cluster, 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 so on, all over there with those. And then broad beans, put them in there as you've just seen with regards how I've sown the seed as well. I've just shown that. And then at the back there is my sweet peas. The sweet peas will be sown tomorrow. These broad beans will stay out here now, but everything else here will now go into my heated propagators that I've got in the house. They've been given a good watering. The compost was watered before I did any seed sowing, and they've just had a quick watering again now, especially these covered with the vermiculite. So we'll get them into the propagator, and we'll see how they go on. You know, when you reach that stage of you've got things to do, you've got it all planned in your head that, right, I'll sow those, I'll pop that on, I'll sow some of that, and so on. And then reality suddenly kicks in and you realise you get and do all that you want to do. You need somewhere to put it all. What I'm getting at is the fact that this greenhouse at the moment is an absolute tip. There are my buckets and tubs and, well, besides, I won't keep rattling. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right, as you can see, I've got me vermiculite always lives down there. It's not a problem anyway. But you can see here, I've got a roll of weed suppressant fabric. Reason behind that will be, will come to light in future videos. That box, that is a, I don't know whether it's 4 or 5 tier small plastic covered greenhouse frame, and that's part of why I want to get cleared in here. At the back there, that roll of debris netting, My current debris netting is starting to show its age. The seams along some of these seams where it's joined, they've split apart, so I ordered myself a new roll of that. That bag, the paper bag down there, that's got some of that really fine, let me just see that white mesh, the Enviro mesh netting. There's buckets still down here that have had tomatoes in, same over here with tomatoes and cucumbers, sweet peas that I've tried to support just to hold them up a little, and I've got other sweet peas that I've sown. I've got broad beans. You've seen this lot being sown, and I mean the shelving isn't too bad, but what I want to do is just clear some of this out and then put this frame together and stand it over there or over here, stand it somewhere so that this lot can go in there. I'll have some clear floor space to be able to get on and get things sorted. So without further ado, I think we'll get and have a tidy up. These buckets, by the way, these are the ones I experimented with the capillary matting and the 3 different types of compost. I don't think I set it up right, so I'm not going to bother doing it this year. Right, that's a little bit better. I'll take you inside and show you what I've done. Right, all pots cleared from there, all out the way. That bag, I'm using that as a rubbish bag at the moment. There's some clover compost I'm currently using. My debris netting and my weed suppressant fabric is over there. What I'm now going to do is the box. We'll get that out, I'll put that together. I won't bother filming doing that, but we'll get that together and we'll find somewhere in here to put it up. And then this assortment of seed trays and sweet peas can go into that little greenhouse. Well, as you can see, I've had a bit of a change of plan from putting it in the greenhouse next door. Because of its size, putting it in there would have blocked the shelf that I would have had at the back here. And also this greenhouse is cleared and emptied. This is going to do exactly the same job as that like coal frame I had down there. I've moved that out, as you can see, and I've now put in here, I've got all the sweet peas and the broad beans. Put the leeks into here. They're all doing nicely, and it's currently 20 degrees in here now, so this is hence the reason this has steamed up a bit. But I thought, as I said, I was going to put it into the other greenhouse next door, but I think it's better, because I've got a bit more room in here, put it into here and just slowly start filling it up as we get and sow more seeds. Well, that's it for this one. Thank you all very much for watching, really is appreciated. I'm glad I've got everything all sorted here now, got greenhouses cleared and straightened out. It's going to help me now with getting the rest of my seed sowing done, because I've got some potatoes I'm going to do in buckets, which I shall probably keep in the greenhouse here. I mean, at the moment it's really nice and sunny. It's 36 degrees, which that's centigrade. Fahrenheit, that's 97. So it's really warm in here. That's hence opening this. I've got some tomatoes that I want to get and sow, so we'll get on and do them. I've sown some flowers, so I'll get and show you how they're progressing. So until the next time, be good, stay safe, look after yourselves and look out for each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Ta-ra a bit.